reflect on the suspension? How tough was that on you? And what do you think was misunderstood about you? What would you like to separate it straight about what happened on the field and the aftermath of it?
I mean, it was tough for sure. I think obviously the whole incident and everything that happened, kind of speaks for itself just as far as, I pretty much spoke on it multiple times from my statements and stuff like that. But just, I think obviously the letter and the language that was used in it and kind of the misconception of what my career essentially has been, it was hard, and not being able to be around anybody, being in the facility. I think just for me, I was in a really, really dark place. It was hard for me to see myself playing football again prior to having the conversation I had with people in the front office of the league and stuff like that.
What prompted you to be able to go to the league's office and speak to Roger Goodell and John Runyon and what did you like about the conversation or how it ended or how?
For me, it was at first it was them asking if I wanted to go up there. Just a lot of advice from D'Amico and everybody. A lot of people, coaches and stuff that I played with or coached or was coached by. Just advice that I got to maybe go up there and talk to them. And at first I was against it just because for me, if me going up there was about me trying to prove that I'm a good person or me trying to prove that I'm not a dirty player, I feel like I had no reason to go up there because I know who I am and they know who I am if you watch the tape, which that's their job obviously. And I think when I went up there, it was more for me to get clarity on why they said what they said, because anybody that's known me or anybody who's actually watched the tape on me, you pulling in 3 clips from over 3,000 snaps, 6 years worth of my work. It just didn't make sense. So going up there, it got to the point for me because I really had a moment of like, there's no way I can go out and play football again if this is how, people that I work with, view me when I've never, prior to that incident, have never even talked, to the commissioner, to John Runyon or anybody. So that's kind of what made me just be like, if I want to move forward and, continue my career, I need to have this conversation. So, just went and decided to go up there, met with everybody, and it was a real transparent conversation. And I think getting that clarity from them of like, hey, like we don't see you as this player. This isn't the person that you are. Like, I guess what cleared the air was, when he was writing up the statement, he spoke on how he was just watching me pull away from D'Amico and watching me go over there and take my helmet off after I got ejected. So as he's typing, it, like I said, carelessly, through what I wrote, is just he's typing about a moment, but the way he typed it, he said got obviously taken out of context, which as a man, I clearly made a mistake. The reason why he typed something which ended up being taken out of context as a mistake is because I did something that was obviously not right. Me taking my helmet off and me starting, another brawl or whatever you want to call it, that wasn't right. Everything prior to that, I stand on the fact that I never tried to hurt him. I literally was quick decision. Somebody told me the analytics, that was Trevor Lawrence's first slide all season long, which is crazy. I played against him for multiple years, never had a problem, anything like that. So when that happened, all of that is just me playing the game, learning that, hey, by rule, if I hit him in the head, then that's a penalty. I can take that. Ejection, fine, I'm cool with that. Suspension, whether I like it or not, it's fine. They have the right to do all those things per the rules, which is what they explained to me, and I can respect that. But I think just like I said, the things that were said didn't match my career. Things about being warned multiple times and repeatedly, violate all these things that weren't true. So I think just getting that clarity from them as far as like what Runyon was thinking and where his head was at, I could respect somebody looking me in the face saying, hey, this is what I meant. It was wrong. You can acknowledge, okay, this part was taken out of context. I can express how I felt, and we can move on. And I think that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like a lot of times people rush to, I had every opportunity to do the same thing that I felt like was done to me. I saw a player, John Runyon, spearing a guy through the sky, I've never watched him play. That was the first play I ever seen, and I can make any assumption out of that I want. But I don't know him as a person. I never talked to him. So if I went and said something about him on Twitter, the same way he said something about me without ever talking to me or meeting me, I would be no better. So I think, and this is something that we talked about and conversated, and it was understood like, hey, I respect you. I got a lot of respect for him. He had a lot of respect for me. Same thing with the commissioner, Troy Vincent. I just appreciated the transparency from our conversation and being able to leave that knowing that, hey, one of the comments was, 99.3% of the time, I play the game the right way. 0.7% of the time, which, I'll take a 99% track record, but still at the same time, they're trying to keep the game safe, and I respect that. So plays like what happened, 100% you try to avoid, and I just think it's a learning moment for me to try to slow up when I see a quarterback come in and just give them a little bit more grace, I guess, than I would give somebody else.
You said that you were in a dark place and you questioned if you play football again. Wondered how were you able to get out of that, and who was able to help you since you couldn't be here, you couldn't talk to your teammates and coaches?
Yeah, that's why I said it was really just. It was a couple things. It's me just, the only thing I did, it was like 5 days where I really didn't do anything. I remember literally it's like a blur. Like I didn't eat nothing. I didn't go anywhere. I just sat in a room. And I remember that Thursday, I want to say a Friday, there's this foster organization, this foster home that I worked with when I was in Nashville. And I worked with it through Vrabel, Coach Vrabel. And they last year they had their party that I attended and went to, and got to see all these kids. And they had messaged me that Thursday or Friday morning, and just gave me words of encouragement, saying they were thinking about me. The kids miss you, and I got so many different messages like that. And I remember just sitting in my bed, and I'm just like, man, I can keep sitting here sad and sulking and just feeling like I'm being, misjudged, or I can just do what I always do, which is just try to be positive and spread positivity, do the best that I can. And so I remember got up, got that text message, and just got on the flight to Nashville. And I went up there, that morning, and was able to go to the event later on that day. The event ended up being that day, surprising the kids, and I actually got to see Vrabel and his family too. So it was just good, I try to put my energy around good people that needed help, because seeing those kids and seeing their face light up, I had so many people saying so many negative things, and to see people that were happy to see me and were happy about my presence, I think that's what kind of snapped me back to hey, regardless of what's being said, you know who you are, and just lean into that. And I think that's what I did. So just kind of from there, just crawling myself out of this place where the things that you can think when somebody says they're in a dark place, as dark as you can go, is where I was, truthfully. And I think I never had a struggle when it came to mental health or things like that. I grew up homeless. I've been in fires, raised my two, anything that you can think of that I've been through in my story, as hard as it was, that was right up there with everything else I've been through.
Where are you now, if you had to say, as you approach the game, looking back, kind of how would you describe where you are, and is it going to make a change the way you approach playing, the way you play?
Like I said, I think for me, after the conversation I had, I'm in a better place mentally, because I was able to meet with the people face to face, because it's one thing if, somebody on TV or a podcast or some random fan is just talking crap about you, but I represent the Shield the same way John Runyon represents the Shield, the same way the commissioner, anybody involved in the NFL. So I think that's what bothered me the most. So having a conversation with people that I work with, and clearing everything up and understanding that, hey, I'm not going to be, targeted now for a hit that might be a regular hit to one player turn into, oh, this guy's suspended for 6 weeks now. It was understood that, hey, you have made it in this league for 6 years, doing the things that you've done for a reason. They respected that, and it was pretty cool, because he's talking about times where I was in San Francisco and all this stuff, and I'm like, I never met him, so I didn't know that he was paying attention that well. So I think just that conversation was probably the biggest part for me as far as seeing myself moving forward. And so after that, getting that clarification, I'm kind of in this space now where I'm just happy to be back and just get back to normal. You know, I put out the statement I did on Monday, just trying to, hey, like this is the first and last time that, you know, I'm going to talk about this. You know, I just kind of obviously give you guys a chance to hear from me and hear what I have to say. But after this, like, it's on to Tennessee and then the playoffs. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Have you got a chance to speak to Trevor Lawrence?
No. You know, I sent out what I said the first time with the apology, and I meant that. You know, at the end of the day, what I did was literally just playing football. Now, again, it was aggressive, 100%. By rule, it's a penalty, 100%. But again, in no way, shape, or form was it me trying to harm him or harm anybody. And so I think, you know, I wrestled back and forth on what do I do, how do I, man, like I said, I think I've played against him multiple times. I've had the conversation with him prior to that game, you know, letting him know, like, hey, it's good to see you back on the field, you know, best of luck, all these things. So I respect that he's a grown man and he has his own feelings. You know, I'm not going to beg nobody to forgive me for something that clearly I know I didn't do on purpose. A part of the game is injuries. I've never got injured and somebody be like, hey, I'm sorry that you got hurt. You know, it's just playing the game. And I don't take it personal. Like, I know that somebody who's trying to play the game the same way I'm trying to play, I respect that they're just going hard, and I am too. So that was never my intention to hurt him. And so I apologized the first time, and that's kind of where I left it.
Maybe you ever, do you think that you and him may be able to get with the rules committee to be able to go over, you know, exactly what happened, and then he can talk from a quarterback's perspective, you can talk about it from a lineback's perspective? Because I remember talking to you before the first game of the year, you said that you had told Anthony Richardson last year, you got to learn how to get down. You talked to CJ, you said you got to learn how to get down.
Like I said, I mean, anybody that knows me, you know, CJ will tell you, we played him last year. He came back for that second game, and I was talking to him. I was like, hey, it's happy to see you back on the field. You know, he had that scary injury against the Jets that took him out the last time when we played him the first time. So we were playing against Case, but when he played the second time, you know, I was telling him the same stuff. Like, it's good to see you on the field. Just be smart, take care of yourself, because I got a job and so does he. So I don't want to see you in that position, but at the same time, I still have a job to do. So you help me help you in that sense. So, I mean, yeah, I think you can have that conversation however you want to have it. But I think in that moment, you know, however he wants to articulate what he might have been doing, I don't know. That's up to him. I just know for me, I've said it 35,000 times. And, you know, like I said, I think this is the last time I'm going to speak on it, period. And after this, I'm just going to move forward.
Azeez,
we'll take two more, guys.
Just reconnecting with your teammates, and I'm sure a lot of support came your way. What did that mean to you during that, what you described as kind of a dark time, just having the teammates support?
Yeah, it meant a lot, you know, just everybody, you know, even a lot of you guys that did, you know, say positive things about me and stories that you had about me, all these different things, like everything mattered to me in that moment because it felt like everything was against you. So I think, like I said, I was in a crazy place I just never been in my life. I mean, I've been through so much things in my life. So I think the support of, you know, the entire organization, players and coaches around the league that a lot of them I've played with or was coached by, and a whole bunch that I didn't even know. They just knew me from film and just seeing the way I played the game over the years. And I just think that it definitely helped me just see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Are you worried that you get back on the field, this is going to be in your head, that you could just do a regular hit and something bad could happen like it did this time? Do you think that'll be like a gnawing thought in your head?
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't there. But like I said, I think the best thing that I had happen was just kind of the clarity from the league. You know, talking to the commissioner himself, talking to Troy Vincent, John Runyon, and making sure we're all on the same page. Like, hey, I know that this play happened, but what about me just going out there and doing what I normally do? Now, I'm not going to, you know, they put up my fine list from try to justify essentially, you know, on all these platforms and stuff is, oh, he's a repeated offender. I've never had anything that's led to anything like this ever in my career. You know, one thing you can talk about is punching Roschon Johnson in the face, which I 1,000% can tell you I was wrong, you know, and other than that, it's been nothing. So, you know, I think for me, I just want to make sure that me getting a face mask or me getting a roughing the passer, which any player who plays defense in this league has, because, you know, you're playing a violent game. It's like you're playing fast, things happen. I just want to make sure that those didn't lead to now adding on to, oh, there's another play, you get ejected. There's another play, you get suspended. And they told me it wasn't. You know, they told me it's like, hey, this is behind you. This is not something that we're just going to pile on top of everything else, you know, and I can respect that. So I think for me, I'm just kind of moving forward from there.
Last one.
Can you talk about just getting back to the game, what you've seen from your play, from your team, kind of moving forward, what the struggles that the team has had, and how you can be back and be a part of that now?
Yeah, I'm just happy to be back with the guys. I think for me, good, bad, or indifferent, like obviously, you know, the last time we were on the field on Christmas Day was not, you know, the best outing. So I think nobody had a good taste in their mouth. I didn't play, and I felt like I didn't want to show my face, you know, so I can only imagine, you know, as a player, how I felt. It was embarrassing, and I'm sure everybody's already spoken on that. You know, we all talked about it, and it's a new week. And one thing about this league is if you get beat once, you better not let it beat you twice. You got to turn the page, and you got to read the page first before you turn it, and that's kind of what we did on Monday, and, you know, was real about what happened. Now it's like, okay, got to turn the page and on to Tennessee to get ready for the playoffs.